All right. It's been 1 week since the passing of Nigeria's former president, Muhammadu Buhari, a towering figure in the nation's history, who died at the age of 82 in a London clinic on July the 13th, 2025. Tonight, we reflect on the legacy of the former military ruler and democratically elected president, the national mourning period, and the ongoing tributes pouring in from across Nigeria and beyond. Senior reporter Lupe Asum has details.
In Daura, the hometown of former President Muhammadu Buhari, the mood remains reflective 1 week after his burial. On July 15th, thousands gathered for a state funeral marked by military honors, a testament to Buhari's enduring popularity, particularly in northern Nigeria. His body, draped in the Nigerian flag, was laid to rest in his family home after Islamic funeral prayers, attended by dignitaries including President Bola Tinubu, former Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, and Guinea-Bissau President Umaru Sissoco.
You can see clearly that at the time we came, it was extremely difficult. But to the glory of God and to the leadership he provided, we were able to contain these explosions, and we were able to push the Boko Haram to the islands, the Lake Chad Islands, the so-called Tumbus.
To the issue of security, it does not allow us sleep. You always get information ahead of us, and you will call and say, so thing is happening at so place. What is the situation?
One may argue if he doesn't know him, but for those of us who interacted with him physically and for several years, there is no doubt that his name is synonymous to integrity.
The week-long national mourning period declared by President Tinubu concluded with flags returning to full mast across the country. However, Buhari's legacy continues to spark intense discussions. Supporters praise his anti-corruption crusade and disciplined leadership. Buhari's burial was a moment of unity for many, with mourners climbing trees to catch a glimpse of the procession. President Tinubu described him as a patriot, a soldier, a statesman, with a deep commitment to Nigeria's unity. Beyond Nigeria, global leaders have continued to pay tributes. But here in Daura, residents continue to honor their son with prayers and gatherings, reflecting on a leader who was highly revered. Lupe Asum, TVC News, Katsina.
All right, joining me on the news to talk more on this is Dr. Yusuf Harun. He will be speaking more on the life and times of President Muhammadu Buhari, who passed on a week ago. Thank you for joining us. Dr. Harun, can you hear me? How would you describe the tone of public response to the passing of President Muhammadu Buhari? Did the grief feel more nationalistic or regional?
So there are two ways we can look at this question. A group of people in Nigeria look at President Muhammadu Buhari as a regional leader, and they perceive him as someone who favored the northern region in particular, while a large number of people also see him as a national president. Let's remember what President Muhammadu Buhari said when he was elected on May 29 in 2015. He said, I belong to nobody and I belong to everybody. This is a symbol, a sign that he was being nationalistic. However, some see his appointments in offices, especially the top positions in the military, like the Chief of Army Staff, the Chief of Defense Staff, and all those positions going straight to the north. And some even accused him of nepotism. Well, however, President Muhammadu Buhari did some work which was nationalistic. I'll give you a good example. In 2022, he commissioned the second Niger Bridge, which is an eastern part of Nigeria, largely dominated by the Igbos. Also, he had in his cabinet ministers from the southeast, Example is Chris Ngige, who held the position of Minister of Labour. So we need to ask these people in the Southeast what they did when they were given the opportunity to hold public offices under President Muhammadu Buhari. So I think it's a misnomer or a misperception or misconception to just accuse President Buhari of being a regional president. I believe he is a national president. And even in his election, he won from every region. So he is not just a regional president, he is a national president. So he exemplified that in his leadership.
What legacy does the former president have or leave behind as a military man turned Democrat?
The legacy the president left, especially towards the end of his tenure after ruling Nigeria for 8 years, is that he left it to be a free and fair democracy. You can see even from the primaries of his political party, which is the All Progressive Congress, he left everybody to contest freely without bias. If the president was biased in the primaries of the APC, we may have seen the winner going to another candidate. But he allowed everybody from every part of Nigeria, every region of Nigeria, to contest, and he was not involved. Now, let's also look at the national election. You can see 3 major political parties and 3 major candidates came out. One from the north, Waziri Atiku Abubakar. One from the southeast, that was Peter Obi. And one from the southwest, that is Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Each of them got millions of votes. 6 million, and one got 8 million. So you can see that the president did not influence or interfere in the national election. This is part of him being nationalistic. Then let us also look at the ministers whom he appointed. Even the central bank governor.
All right, Dr. Harun, because of our time, I need to quickly squeeze in this last question, if you can hear me. The president named University of Maiduguri after him as a way of immortalizing him, and that has raised some reaction, divergent reactions. Where do you stand on this, and is that in itself enough? Does he deserve more?
The current president I know, he is very strong, and I see him not budging or not pulling back. I see him going ahead with it. When Goodluck Ebele Jonathan also named University of Lagos after Moshood Kashimawo Abiola, he said that there were protests, there was resistance. I will also remind you, even Obafemi Awolowo University, it was University of Ife before. But when it was named, there was also resistance. Human beings are prone to resistance. They are resistant to change. They don't want a new innovation. I think it's a good idea as it is named University of Buhari or Buhari University. And I believe that the current president, whom I know, who is adamant, he is going to still go ahead naming it, even though people protest, because it's a good idea.
All right.
And remember that President Buhari before was the leader of
I know you have a lot to say, but unfortunately time is not our friend, Dr. Harun, and so we have to wrap up the interview here now. But thank you so much for your time on the news at 10. All right. The Federal Ministry of Education denies